What up, what up? Welcome to the special edition of the Cool Report podcast. Today we have Ethan Lloyd. And this is going to be special editions of 10 random questions with industry professional. Ethan Lloyd here, who came highly recommended by some of our staff. We have social media professional, creative director, and entrepreneur.
Yes, sir.
Welcome.
Pleasure to meet you. Thank you for having me.
Likewise. So we were chatting a little bit beforehand, so I kind of want to jump right into it. After speaking with you, getting to know a little bit about you, the first thing I want to know is what sparked your passion for teaching?
Ooh, that's a great question. What sparked my passion for teaching? I feel like what sparked my passion for teaching, because there are several different ways that I teach. So I teach senior citizens how to use social media to reconnect them with their families. What sparked that was the loss of my grandmother and how we weren't connected.
Okay.
But when I'm teaching just professionals how to use social media, I think what sparked my passion for that was just a lack of knowledge and like the desire to explore this new space. It's changing every day, and the ways that you can use it are always evolving. And I love working with creatives, so It's just fuels me.
Dope. Leading to the second question, I see that you do a lot of social media managing.
Yeah, I do.
Some personally, some professionally,
Yes.
some for the city. So I guess kind of leading into that, I want to know, how do you balance, or what is a good balance from social media insight and social impact?
Yeah, ooh, that's a great question. I think that there are a couple things you have to keep in mind. Social media is an opportunity to tell your story. That's the first thing.
Okay.
And every good story has a hero, and every good hero needs a guide. I think the biggest thing is that people need to position themselves as the guide and not the hero on their page. That's how we really get into social impact.
Yep.
Because if your social media page is just me,
Right.
that's all it's ever going to be. But it's not about you, it's about the person viewing it. So it's an opportunity to amplify your voice, to share your story, and to be a guide, not the hero. The person scrolling is the hero, and
Right.
it's your goal to guide them in whatever your passions or expertise is.
That's dope. That's an interesting perspective.
Thank you.
So kind of piggybacking from that, and using, the Detroit city as our backdrop behind us, and you're talking heroes, what role would you say the city of Detroit has played in whether it be your professional development or personal development, and where you find yourself right now?
The city of Detroit took a chance on me. So I launched my business out of college very young, and I didn't really have the biggest portfolio in the world. I helped a couple nonprofits. I just really was just getting my beak wet in social media and content creation.
Okay.
And I helped somebody go viral in Highland Park. 30 million views in the city of Detroit. Just a small amount. And the city of Detroit, the mayor's office specifically, caught wind of this, and they were looking to fill that position. They brought me in, and they told me specifically, we want engagement, we want views, we want the mood and the energy around our city on social media to be a little tougher. We want it to be nicer. And so that's what I came in and I did. We got them 20 million views. That was my first government project. That was my first time working with politicians. That was my first time truly telling a story on a massive level, speaking to an entire city. So that really skyrocketed everything else I've done, because now I've worked with the House of Representatives. I've worked with the majority floor leader. I've worked with Senate candidates. I've worked with so many great politicians, but not just politicians, established professionals, because of that risk that the city took on me, and it paid off for them big time, for sure.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope. So before we get to the next question, I kind of want to peel back some layers from that. What is it, or what does it take, or what do you have to see, or what have you trained yourself to see when you're leading up to something that's going to produce a 30 million
Yeah. Oh my goodness, that's such a good question. So for me, it's about I really think that I need to meditate, and I really have to like know why I'm creating this, because when you're creating content for social media, it's art. If you do it right, it's art. If you're playing around, you're just playing around, and it's fun. But if you're doing it right, it's art. And before I get into anything, I just want to really establish, what am I doing? Like, what do you actually need me to do? They were very clear. Engagement. We want to hype up the culture. There's no city like Detroit. We want to show that on a national scale. And I just really, the other piece is, I have to do a lot of research. I have to really look in and talk to people that I think can help tell this story, right? So I'm talking to stakeholders. I'm talking to very, very important brands in the city of Detroit. One thing I did is I went around the entire city and talked to all the biggest pages, connected with them, and got them to agree to collaborate. So that's Visit Detroit. That's Raw Detroit. That's any big page with Detroit at the
Right. So you need to be talking to them.
Pure Michigan, State of Michigan. I mean, we collaborated with everybody, but that was in the beginning, right? I had to plant that seed, and then after they saw my work, it really blossomed.
So kind of piggybacking off of that leads us right into the next question. With all of your efforts, with all of, pounding the pavement, building the connections, the networking, how do you prioritize rest and recovery?
How do I prioritize rest and recovery? I haven't as much as I should. I feel like that's my biggest flaw right now as a creative. Like, I have a hard time turning it off. I have something like, it's just something with like I don't know, I can't think of any word to describe it other than like my soul, where like I'm on go. Like,
so you ain't tired yet.
I'm also addicted to caffeine and coffee. So it's just like I'm on go. I have a lot of energy. One thing somebody told me who is very established in this realm is, use your youth. Like, go, like, get it all. Like, get all the contracts, get all the work. And I haven't been resting, and I can't wait to see what my work looks like when I start resting. One thing I want to do is I want to take like Sunday off, where I'm not creating, I'm just doing nothing.
Right. Relax.
Yeah, but I was working on a Senate campaign, and that meant that I was traveling across the entire state of Michigan, recording content, delivering it, and posting it in the same day. Sometimes I'll get a message that says, you got to shoot all the way up to Marquette, and I'm in the city. And then I just got to do it. It was the contract. And it was hard to rest in that kind of environment. I'm still getting out of that. I'm glad you asked me that. That's something I need to do more.
Take a note. Got to take a note of that. Yeah. So so you encourage a lot of people.
Yes.
Whether it be just individuals with their personal journeys, or small businesses, you encourage individuals to use their voice. So that led me to wondering, when or how did you find your voice? Whether it may be, in the lane, or just learning to use your voice for your calling. How did you find your voice?
I love these questions. I think I found my voice, honestly. I think I was always the child that said too much. Like, I was always the kid who would tell you what was on their mind. I've been social since I was a baby. Like, I've always been social. But that's just talking. That doesn't necessarily mean that you have a voice. Like, if you're just talking, a lot of people say a lot of nothing, right? So what I think happened for me, and I think I'm still finding my voice, is I remember speaking on Fox 2 News, and I planned out everything that I was gonna say on TV. Like, I planned it. I wrote a script, basically. I had my bullet points, and I was studying it the entire day.
Right.
And when I went on there and I spoke, it was the worst.
Out the window.
Not only did it go out the window, it was my worst TV appearance. It was horrible. And Roop Raj said something to me that I think everybody should remember. He stopped me and said, have fun with it.
Right.
You got to have fun with this. And that's been my biggest thing. I have a level of play in everything that I do. I might be making a video for a governor, but it's still fun. Like, they call me to bring the fun. And as long as I have that inner child enjoying this process, the voice just naturally channels through that. I think your voice channels through your inner child. I really think you got to just have your youthful energy, your spirit, embrace it. You know, if I'm too buttoned up and professional, I don't feel like I have a voice. You know,
that's real. That's real, and that's dope that you're able to notice that about yourself. Because some people kind of get into whether it be particular fields or particular worlds and kind of button themselves all the way up where you don't even recognize them.
Where do you think you found your voice, though?
I think I'm still finding it, man. Doing this, sitting down and talking to other people, getting the opportunity to bounce questions off of people, kind of using you as an excuse to find my voice. You know what I mean?
I'm enjoying that excuse. So it's fine.
That's where I am with it. Still trying to find it. Yeah. But kind of leading to the next question, with the encouraging of small businesses, encouraging young creatives, young directors, with the North American International Auto Show going on.
Man, slapping right now.
It's going crazy.
They're going crazy.
And seeing how much tech is being implemented, direct technology to not even, behind the floorboards, just direct technology. How are you coaching or informing people on how to navigate this new technology wave going on?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest buzzword right now is AI. Everybody keeps talking about it. You can throw a pebble and hit somebody that owns an AI company. Like that's all people are talking about right now, specifically in Detroit. We have a huge startup scene right now. I mean, if you go to New Lab or Michigan Central, you see so many great scientists who are becoming entrepreneurs, and it's great. My biggest thing is I always look at productivity. I always look at how can I speed up my process? How can I buy my time back? I've been using AI, truthfully, first time I've admitted this, I use AI to buy my time back.
Right.
You know, there are certain steps in my workflow that can be sped up. And that's where technology is best implemented, when you can speed up your workflow, right? So I look at my daily challenges. What kind of things do I do in a given day? I have to do a lot of writing. That AI can do that. I have to do a lot of editing. AI is starting to do that. It's not perfected yet. I send a lot of emails. A whole lot of emails. If I stop sending emails, this whole ship sinks. So AI can help with that. And it's a quick fact check if you do it right. But and then just talking things through. Sometimes you have ideas and you need data. Sometimes you have to talk to the data and the data bank, and that's what I do. The other thing is I think of the customer experience. I'm big on client experience because one thing I was taught is you are the business. It's you. So I always try to think of ways to make it enjoyable to work with me. I want it to be pleasant. Sometimes that involves technology.
That's cool. And you mentioned New Lab. And I seen you done some work with them over there. How important and how impactful is something like Black Tech Saturdays for culture,
Oh my goodness. So Black Tech Saturdays, let me tell you, Black Tech Saturdays genuinely changed my life. I was working at the city of Detroit, and I didn't feel like my talents were being showcased the way that it should be. I felt like I did something so revolutionary that I felt like people should know about it, right? And I get a call from Johnny Turner, who's the co-founder of Black Tech Saturdays, and he says, I just want to hear your story. Can we meet? Can I hear your story? We talk, we meet up, we chop it up, and one of the first things he says is like, yo, you should be on the news. Like, I'm not on the news at the time. I go on there like every week now, but he was like, you should be on the news. Like you should, I'm surprised people aren't like really shouting you out and embracing you and promoting your talents. And that was my biggest critique of, my work at the time. And he offered an opportunity for me to do that. He allowed me to do a workshop with like 500 people there. I taught them my strategies on social media. I was able to convert a lot of them into clients or consultees. And then the other piece was he brought me on as social media director. So it just catapulted everything that I had going on. And then the part that you don't see, he would invite me to things like Pancakes and Politics. He invited me to the NAACP Freedom Fund dinner when Joe Biden was there speaking.
Right.
You know, didn't have to do that. That's not in the contract.
Right.
But he did it. That kind of stuff really matters to me. He would take me to very important people and be like, all right, Ethan, the floor is yours. Tell them about yourself. People don't do that.
Right.
Like at all. Right. Nobody does that. And there was just a level of, I'm not the figurehead. You guys are the figure. Like this isn't me. Right. I'm turning this camera around to the audience, right?
Right.
You know, and that's beautiful. And it ties back into what we talked about being a guide instead of trying to be the hero. What I love about Black Tech Saturdays is they don't try to be the hero. They think that everybody attending is the hero. It's also free. Like that's the other thing.
Oh, okay.
You can just walk into Black Tech. You got to register,
right.
But it's free. Like that's fire. You know, it reminds me of the kind of thing that you guys are doing here with Oxford Cafe. You know what I mean?
Appreciate that.
It's beautiful.
So what type of, just to get a little bit more, you know, peel back some layers on that, you know, the work that people don't see. Yeah. What type of preparation goes into being confident enough to say, okay, you know, I can fill that role? Or when somebody presents an opportunity to you, you know, the hours that goes, and you know, the sleepless nights that people don't see. How confident or how much confidence do you have to build in yourself to say, I can take on any opportunity that comes my way?
Confidence comes from preparation. So for me, the biggest thing is I like to clear my mind, and I just like for these things to hit me. It's very spiritual, but the main thing is you have to do research on whose story you're trying to tell.
Right.
You have to look at how the story's already been told, and you have to listen. That's the biggest thing. A lot of these things, it's not necessarily about the preparation. I think the best preparation is just a clear mind.
Right. A
clear mind and an empty stomach. Just fast and just, you know, ground yourself.
Right.
So that you're going in there with a clean slate. I try not to like listen to music and stuff like that. I try to just clear my mind all the way. And then I go in there and I have one intention, and that's to listen, right?
Right.
So when I'm pitching to a client, I'm pitching, but I'm really just listening, right? And I think that's the biggest thing. I can come up with the most grand idea, but if it's not what you imagined, or it's not what you really are looking for, I can talk about it for 30 minutes, but I got to listen to you at some point. So my biggest thing is listening.
Right. Okay. All right. So winding it down or pulling it back a little bit, in your world, or in your profession, you wake up in the morning, whatever your first wake is, what does a perfect day look like to you?
Oh, God, that's some great questions. A perfect day for me is I wake up and my dog is already walked. Somebody else took care of it. Because right now it's like 10 degrees outside. Right. So the perfect day, truthfully, is I wake up, I walk my dog, I drink some coffee, I respond to all my emails, and I get to create content. Like I get to make a video. You know, that's fun for me.
Right.
And then maybe I go on Fox 2 and speak about something. That's very fun for me.
Yeah.
It's like a hobby. Like I really enjoy doing that.
That's dope.
And then just close it out with a nice meal, like chicken and broccoli, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah. And then that's my day. Like I actually really only try to do one thing a day. I don't try to do 800 things a day. I try to do one important. This is my important thing for the day.
I appreciate that.
I'm gonna go home and feel very productive.
That's a good practice.
Just one thing every single day. You know, I don't try to do a bunch of stuff. So this is the perfect example of a perfect day.
Okay. And second to last question, what is a piece of advice that stuck with you, but you ignored?
Oh. What's a piece of advice that stuck with me, but I ignored it? There's a couple things. I'm sorry, but it's a couple things. I gotta say this stuff. The biggest one was last night. My friend has been telling me for 2 years now, you need to start vlogging again. That's how I really built up this culture I'm establishing. Like I was vlogging, I would make videos, and I stopped and I started doing it for other people, for a check, but I stopped doing it for myself personally, which is me not practicing what I'm preaching. I preach all the time. You got to make content for you, right? And I realized we were talking. And he was like, "Yeah, man. For the past 2 years, I've been telling you start vlogging again, and you've just been like." Nah. I was like, and that was very humbling. The other thing that I think somebody taught me that I didn't listen to was like the power of starting small. Like it's not always you hear about. I worked for the city of Detroit. I worked for the House of Representatives.
Right.
I speak on the news every week. Those are the big ones, right? But it's the small ones that got me there. Like, so starting small is so important. Just helping one person has a snowball effect and there's a multiplier behind it that you don't see, right? And then what you put out, you really get. I didn't listen to that, right? So I started, I've had an issue of like, getting the biggest whatever client but it's really helping locally, helping small, shopping small, helping small black owned businesses, that kind of stuff. Like you don't see the impact of it immediately, but you look back like a year later and it's like, yo. Yeah. Like our conversation about Black Tech Saturdays. Right. Working for the city of Detroit, I was in charge of communicating for 600,000 plus residents, and we reached 400,000 out of 600,000 on Instagram alone. So I was reaching 80% of the city population every day. Wow. We're posting 8 times a day. We are communicating around the clock, and that was very entertaining. It was very massive and big, and I had a lot of access. Like I could go to any event, and it's huge, right? But the work I did with Black Tech Saturdays was equally as impactful to me, and that's smaller. Like it was equally as fun. Actually, it might have been more fun in certain circumstances. And it was, starting small, like help locally, help small, and see how it compounds over time. What would you say? I'm very curious to what you think.
I mean, I like that. I like that. Even just speaking on, the compounding, that leads in, leading into finance and, just how that snowball effect.
Yeah.
Just that little bit, we put a little bit more effort, and you look back and you got to, snowball the size of the room you're sitting in.
Exactly.
And it's impactful, those small things. And you never really know how big those small things mean to people. You know what I mean? Even if it's just engaging with somebody on social media or, responding back to a comment. That's building your campaign. That goes into building your brand, and those small chips hold a lot of weight.
Yes, there are people who have been like, "Oh my goodness, thank you so much for leaving a comment." Like, and to me, it's small, but to them, it was the world. I was who they were trying to reach. You know, so starting small, your interest has interest on it. That's the power of compounding.
Exactly. All right, cool. So with final question. What are you most excited or most looking forward to in 2025?
I am most excited to really spend time with myself and build internally. I have a team now, and my team needs me to be on point. I can't go to every event. I can't go to every party. Like this is a year of growth for me. I plan on this year tripling the size of my creative agency. I really plan on going big this year. Like it's planned, it's established, it's in the calendar. And it's already moving at just such a rapid pace. This week I've closed so many deals, right? 3, but so many to me from where I was, you know? And my biggest thing is I really want to, we talked about finding our voice. That's something that I really want to channel this year. I really want to share my thoughts. I've been so cookie cutter as a creative. I've been so proper. I've been three-pieced up, three-piece suits, walking into the House floor, going, all these great places, the state capitol, working with legislators. That is great, but I'm ready to have an opinion that I want to share with the world. Right. I've been very professional. I've been very reserved. I've been like the finance guy. I've been tightened up like a bank and just going. But I'm really ready to share my thoughts because I have thoughts on what's going on in the city, what's going on in this state, and what's going on with creatives, because I feel like a lot of creatives don't have an outlet. And that's why this space is so beautiful. But I plan on embracing spaces like this more, right? And I thank you for inviting me, because this is what I want to do more of. Okay. I want to connect with way more creatives. I want to help them out. I want to help people who have a passion, designing, creating, whatever it is, animating. I want to help them find jobs. I want more people to have money in their pocket, doing what they love. That's 2025 for me.
Hey, we here for it, man. I appreciate you stopping
Thank you,
by.
brother.
Sure.
I appreciate it.
Definitely. And that's a wrap. Mr. Ike here with Ethan Lloyd, social entrepreneur. We'll be on the lookout for what's next to come.
Yeah, look forward to it. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. That's a wrap.